Let's talk napkins. Napkins are so versatile. They're easily accessible, they're affordable, and you can use them for a multitude of purposes. You can use them in straight decoupage, you can create home decor items, craft fair makes, art journal pages, you name it. You are not limited by anything but your imagination. They're a great addition to your stash, whether you're a beginner or a more seasoned creator. For the beginner, napkins can help you learn about winning color schemes, design, and composition. You can jumpstart your art journal page or your mixed media piece using what the artists of the napkins have already done. If you're a more seasoned creator, it can challenge you. 2 years ago, I rarely used napkins in my art journaling and mixed media pieces. But by experimenting and challenging myself, I now have discovered the multitude of ways that I can use them in the various art forms that I create. And I share all those tips and tricks in my video tutorials. I guide you through step by step and introduce you to the different ways. You may want to check out the Napkin Journal playlist, because that's where I put all the ones that use napkins. And while you may want to check out the newest napkins at NinnysNapkins.com, you don't have to have the exact napkin that I create within my tutorials, because I can guarantee you that you have a napkin in your stash that is going to be similar enough to what I am using that you can follow the same steps and end up with a wonderful creation. So the napkins that I'm going to showcase in this video are the newest spring 2022 napkins that have been added to NinnysNapkins.com. And there are some lovelies here. In a minute, I am going to go through all those 30+ napkins and share with you ideas that I have for using them. So not only will you have ideas specific to this napkin or one of the other 30 napkins, but you're also going to get ideas and inspiration for using that you can use when you're creating. Maybe something I say is going to give you an idea. So let's get started. First things first, when I get new napkins, and periodically I pull out the napkins from where I have them stored away and I look at them. I put them on the table with the goal of brainstorming, coming up with ways to use them. So once I have them on the table, I make sure I get myself some Post-it notes, because I am going to keep track of ideas that I get during this brainstorming session. And you'll see that there are these little pink Post-it notes on these napkins because I've already done that process. So let's go back. Let's lay them out. We have the different, get out your dining room table, put the leaves in it, and put out the napkins. What you're looking for right now is napkins that may work together, that elements are going to work, the color scheme's going to work. You're looking to discover some possibilities. So you're going to notice colors. So I might say this budgie napkin might go with this one. They've got similar tones, and I might be able to construct an art journal page, mixed media piece, card, using both of those napkins. So then what I'm going to do is simply write that down. This one's called Ivy's Dream. And this is Budgie's Green. And I'm writing that down on the Post-it note. And you can put bigger Post-it notes as you see fit. And you might have one napkin that works with lots, but that's okay because every napkin has 4 images, 2 images, lots of things that you can play with. So I would put this as a possibility. Those colors work really well. So I might put that together. Then I'm looking at some of these. This one's Potpourri Bell Jar, and I love the Old Roses vintage look. That might be something that I put together. So I would put that. This one could also go with this vintage bride. I really like that look. So this one is called, so I'm going to look at the name and I go to the order form from Ninny's Napkins. I go online and you get the colored images. So I'm going to put Sarah here and Sissy here because I might combine that. I might watercut around this, but we're going to talk more about that later. I'm just going to set this aside for now as a possibility. So here again, we have Potpourri, and this one's Potpourri Bell Jar and Potpourri, and they definitely could go together. We've got the same colors, we have the same botanicals, so I'm going to put that together. And again, here we have the same color scheme. So work things that are on the same theme, things that are the same, write it down on the card. So that's the first step. When it comes to napkins, size matters. We have different size focal images. We have some things that are as large as your hand, and then we have tinier all over patterns. So you want to match your napkin to what you're creating on. And here are a couple of ways that you can help yourself do that. Make yourself some window templates. Basically, this is just mixed media paper, scrap paper that I've cut the size of the substrates that I typically use. I use a lot of 4x4s. So this allows you to coast over the napkin and decide if that size is going to work with the scale of what we see on the napkin. So I have some of my favorite sizes, 5x7. I've got some tags, my composition book, 4x4, 3x5s. I also grab out the common substrates that I use. I use a 7x10 Canson Mixed Media art journal, 7x10. I also have 9x12. So I'm going to bring out a couple of those blank pages. So when I have all the napkins out and I'm doing this brainstorming session, I can take the napkin and lay it out against the side and see how it fits, if it fits. There is a substrate matched for all of them. So I have got my art journal pages. I do journal covers. So I'll pull out the cover here. Different sizes of canvas boards, 5x7. This one's 4x10, 8x10. Whatever you are creating on, bring out one of those substrates. Because as you're doing the brainstorming session, you're going to do that, and you can write on those Post-it notes 4x4, 8x10. And you're going to keep track of your ideas. The next thing I'm going to tell you is to cut it out. Sometimes the napkin is so beautiful the way it is, and all we see is it in this particular format of exactly how it looks. It's a napkin. So I have this Budgie's Green napkin, And we've got the budgies looking to the left and looking to the right. That's important. I love that for composition purposes. But I'm seeing it as a square, and that might limit how I might use it. So I recommend getting a pair of scissors and just leaving the plies on and cutting out. This allows you to play with the elements on the substrate that you are considering using. So if this is a 5x7 canvas board, and I can put it there. Instantly, it looks different than what it is on the napkin, because you're no longer seeing it as a napkin, you're seeing it as a focal images. Now, some of these napkins, like this one, has some lovely design elements on it. And I might take note of that, and I might try to duplicate that on my background. I might take a swirl stamp and stamp it with green or 2 tones of green like we have here. I may even use that. I've got that piece here. I'm not throwing that away. I could use that on my background as well. But the key point here is it allows me to manipulate what I have on the napkin. So we talked about putting it with this one. So instantly I can start playing with it and seeing, oh, so if I put a border of the ivy around there, and I could put the bird in the middle. I've got a stencil with a branch, but now I'm really just focused on the focal image. And when it comes to napkins, you can layer them up and build your own composition. Cutting it out will help you tenfold. Leave the backing, the 2 extra plies on. You don't need to take those off till you're ready to create. And if you don't create with it and the napkin, it's cut, they can be all stored. I'm just gonna fold this up, and I'm gonna put all my pieces nicely and neatly in here like this. So when I'm brainstorming, I may cut it up because that's gonna help me come up with ideas. So those are the basics to the process that I do. I'm liking this budgie right here. So this could be a 4x4 coaster. I could use this on an art journal page. I also think this would make a very cute card. And I have my template. I've got a 5x7 card and a 6x6, but I could have that. Now you see we have these little bits here that are cut off, and I can see that. So when I would do the card, I would water cut this budgie. We've got the budgie off here, peel off the 2 excess layers, water cut the budgie, put that on, and maybe I'm going to make the background of the card like this. I like this green over here and the white with the green on this side. I like that look, so I'm gonna borrow and learn from the artist. And I'm gonna write that down because I'm always looking for ideas. This fun napkin is called Holiday Frog, and he is just adorable. And right off the bat, I'm thinking this just makes an Insta card or Insta canvas. This is a 6x6 wood panel, and I can see just having that almost as it is. Add a sentiment. This would make a cute home decor item in a boy's room or girl's room that loves frogs. Likewise, an equal card. Go on Pinterest. Find a sentiment that works. Some of my sassy sayings sentiment packs would work well with these frogs. We've got they're relaxing, restore, ribbit. Now when you look at this napkin, you see we've got 2 and 2. So we got identical images. You can also, if you want, you can just cut out this image, which is beautiful by itself, and then you can use the lily pads on a different project. Remember, you don't have to use the napkin as it is. You can break it up. So this one, I might take one napkin and cut out the elements, and definitely, I love the lily pads, and I can see myself using the lily pads and the frogs separately. But when you shop at Ninny's Napkins, you get 2 of each. So you have lots of options if you want to use an entire panel. Now, talking about panels, this would be so cute to put in this is a cradled wood frame. Now this one is only 8 by 10. I probably would go a little bit larger, but I could put that in here. And if I cut them out, if I cut out the elements, I can put in however many I want. But I do have bigger cradled wood frames, and I think I might just do that. I think that would be so adorable. And then you paint the frame. And I do have a video, it's a rabbit, it's an Easter one, where I do an inverted frame, but I can see doing that. That would just make beautiful home decor items. So that's holiday frogs. I'm just looking at my substrates. I have these dollar store galvanized metal ones. This one's just primed already, getting ready to go. But you could totally water cut that frog out right there, and he is just the perfect size. So you could put one frog on one side, one on the other, and then decoupage the lily pads down. This one is called Limoni, and I love the colors of this. This is so calming and relaxing. Definitely I can see decoupaging this onto these canisters, and then you have a set of 3 that could go into a bathroom, a bedroom, to store cotton balls and different things. Now this set, this came with 3 and the tray. So this napkin, this beautiful pattern and color pattern, it's got that little bit of pink. Oh, I love it. Could go on to that. And here are a couple that I've done with a different napkin. That. Remember, you don't need to have a complicated process for everything you create. I could just take this and use this as an Insta card, where I just put that on there, add a sentiment, and we are done. Play with the border. Maybe have a darker green border or a yellow border or a pink border, and away you go. Now I'm not, by nature, I'm not a card maker, but I like using my art journaling, mixed media supplies, and techniques to create. So let's get out that template and see. I really like this right in here, so I might water cut that piece out if I wanted to put this onto a mini composition book, which I make for craft fairs and are very, very, very popular. There's lots of options. Here's my window for that. If I wanted to make coasters or magnets. Remember, I could take one napkin and put the decoupage it onto the galvanized things. Then I can have a magnet. This might go on the dishwasher. One side clean, dirty. So play with your window templates and then write down whatever ideas come to you, and you'll be surprised at how many ideas you can get. This gorgeous napkin is called Magdalena. I love magnolias, and right now I have a magnolia that looks very much like this blooming in my back garden. And it's got a dragonfly, which again, if you watch my channel, you know I love, and the soft pink color. There isn't a thing about this napkin that I don't love. So I would be very tempted to make this into, you know, a 6x6 card. It could be a 5x7 card, and I would cut, but I would hate to cut off part of it. But I can totally see doing this on a canvas, at least 8x10, where it's in one corner, and then I can add some texture paste, some modeling. I've got, TCW has a Magnolia stencil. I've got some Magnolia stamps. I've got a bigger dragonfly that I could incorporate in there, and I would duplicate the script, the gray and pink, light pink background. So again, use what the artist has given us. This would also look lovely doing a background that's very vintage, using some old book papers, getting that old music papers, and then, which is the color that's in the magnolia a little bit here, a soft thing of pink, some script stamp. This napkin is called Buddha, and when you open it up, you're going to see we've got 4 identical panels. So this is great for multi-makes. Now that could go on a mini composition book. Now I would tend towards not keeping the orchids with the Buddha, or I would cut them out and I might layer them a little bit different. So I would peel off the 2 plies, water cut the orchids, and use them differently. Do my own composition. But again, we need to cut it out. The 4x4 is just too small. That would not work. But I could do that maybe on a 5x7, especially if I cut out the elements. I can have the orchid up here and the orchid down here with the Buddha in the middle. Now the other thing that catches my idea here, the colors. Talk about go-togethers, because I have these out right now. The color of the Buddha here is the same as the tone on this magnolia. So if I cut these out, I may be able to layer them up on an art journal page like that. Well, let's just do that. Let's cut one out. I'm telling you that this is what we need to do, and it opens your mind. I'm going to leave these stones on here because I think I might keep them where they're at. I like that look. And I'm just rough cutting it because I know I'm going to either more detail cut it later. So if I had that and then the Buddha, I love that. So I'm going to write that onto there, the colors, and then using a background that's going to have this yellow, beige, and the pink. But that makes, and this is a 7x10 page. You might be able to make it a little bit bigger. Then I could add some kind of pink border on here, or I could do stenciling with my magnolia on the side, or texture paste, or stamping. Now this is one of those napkins, and in the last couple videos you might have heard me say, you know, it's like some of them, I get sent one of the napkins and it was like, okay, now what am I going to do with this? It doesn't strike me immediately. So these are 4 identical patterns, and we have a bride. And there's a staircase in here. I struggle with darker backgrounds, but I would cut out the bride, and I'm going to do that because it's just, once you see that, and I would water cut this right up close to get rid of any of that darker color, because I really don't want that. So we have that. So instantly now it's changed. And I would, you know, here I'm not very close, but when I'm actually creating, I'll do that. Right now there's still the 2-ply layers on. So that could go in there. So we could use my sassy sayings on this. This could also go on a card. And you can see how right away I'm seeing more possibilities with this. Definitely going vintage, old book papers, tea-stained papers, that color scheme. Now I'm going to go with some go-togethers. Remember, we pulled out these napkins earlier, so we can use this. This one is called Sarah, but we have those tones. This could be like vintage wallpaper, and I would probably do this on a bigger page, not on the card. This one, very insta background. You have you're using Sarah in the background. Now I've got there's stencils that I have from TCW that have those vintage patterns. So I'm going to dig those out. Here's another one called Rosy White. This could go very nicely with this bride. I could put a border of it here. I could put the roses, this scale, they're smaller, down below. Or interdisperse them. Sarah, and I love the patterning of this. Vintage, definitely vintage. So any page you could do. So you could cut out the individual elements. This would make a nice magnet, 4x4 magnet, 4x4 wooden coaster that you're going to start seeing me creating. You can put them on ATCs. And you can see how when you're just moving them around, I think that would look nice on a mini composition book as well. So that is Sarah. So this one, Rosy White, and I showed a lot of those. These are smaller elements. I would be very tempted when you have smaller elements, you're going to cut these out, water cut, and then you can put it back together. Build your own page. But right there, look, wouldn't that look lovely? Mini composition book, or ATC is very close to this. You can build up. Put this in a corner, and then you have your sentiment in your background. When you're making cards with napkins, it doesn't have to cover up the whole napkin. So this one is very usable. I could also take several of this pattern. Do they all lean the same way? They do. They do all lean this. They're identical. But I can put that and make a bouquet of roses. This one's just a 5-inch, 5x5. So we saw this one when we were doing our go-togethers. This is called Potpourri Bell Jar. So it is very definitely a focal image, and we have reverse. So we have options, a little more options when we're composing our page. Now, in of itself, I mean, you can use this on a 6x6 or an 8x8 card panel. But on an art journal page, I would be tempted to find something that goes with it. This napkin, again, very vintage. We have birds and blooms, winning color combination. We have two different panels. We've got script, we've got postmark, everything we love to see. Now, when I start playing with my pages, I can see using this in the corner of a page. It fits perfectly. But I might take this branch and put it on the corner up here. And if I watercut it exactly, I mean, I have options. And maybe I'm going to keep them by not cutting them out at this stage. That can go, that branch is going to go down here, so I'm going to actually cut this. It's the way I roll. But I'm taking note of what was here, so that can go that way, and then this one can go here. Now, my 7x10, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, okay, size matters, it's too small. So I'm gonna bump this up, and I notice there's some branding here, so I'm gonna get rid of that, and I'm gonna put that up. Now, some of these pieces, I can still put them on this page. I've just made it bigger, so I might, that might go there, and I would get the deckled edge. This might go here. And I could cut out more of that color, and that goes in the background. Then you use your texture paste, your stamps, your stencils. This would be totally what I would use. I love that postmark, so I would use it. So again, you're using all the parts of your napkin. So this one's called Blossom Napkin. I love that coral peach. It's very faded, very vintagey, and if that's where you like it, that's great. But what I'd also do is I would use my Inktense blocks, or you could use watercolor or a wash of acrylic paint and heighten that color. Likewise, you can, I can do that, 4x4 coaster. This would also make a beautiful card. This one is called Art Flower, and I love the napkins that are like this. So I would have, I love the three different sizes here. They're acrylic paint. I might actually attempt to duplicate that, try to get the colors, and just use my brush and do swoops of color and see. I'm going to challenge myself. That could be on an art journal page, or that could just be practice. Now, what I would do here, I love the colors of this, so I would duplicate the background. I could just cut this out, glue this down, and then use my paint and recreate the same background that is here. This would look lovely on a 4x4. If I only wanted two, I could do that on a smaller sheet. So this is one of the reasons too why you might want to have several different art journals. I remember when I started about 5-6 years ago, I thought, why are people having so many art journals? I'm never going to have it. Well, you have them because different sizes work differently, and you want to have that option on it. This one is called Coralie, and it is another very vintage. So these would be great for junk journals that often are going vintage. So we have this beautiful warm color. We've got tulips and anemones on here. Don't be afraid to cut it out. So that could go in the corner here. So again, book papers, tea-stained papers in the background, some of that burnt sienna color. Love that. Not a big fan of the tulip here. This would work on the 9x12. This would work on my 7x10. It would go on an 8x10 canvas board. So right now we have a couple napkins that, you know, are reminiscent of Valentine's Day. And we can put them in our stash and save them till Valentine's Day. Combine them. Look for tissue papers that go with the holidays. They often work really well. You get good themes on that. But you don't have to use them for just the holiday. So this one is called Hearts on a Wire. Now, right off the bat, I could just take this, put it on a card front, decoupage it down, and it's great. This would also look so cute on decoupaged onto these tins. And you can put, you know, treats in there for someone and gift it. This one also, what you can do, especially with this top one, water cut that out. That could be the border across the top. And then you can add something down here for Valentine's Day or whenever. This is called Kisses. A fun napkin. So right off the bat, I'm noticing this one, and this is Tulip's postcard. And I'm thinking we could do a pun with Kiss My Two Lips. And we have this as part of it, and this as well. And we have the colors that go together. You could put that with some red roses. We've seen some red roses one. We could have this on a card front, kind of as an Insta background, and put the sentiment, kiss me. Add a Julie Nutting doll to this and have some sassy saying. So what I said, we could put a Julie Nutting doll on there. Love using my Julie Nutting dolls. Onto that Insta background, I would put maybe this on the border, and she could be up there. Then I can do some texturing up front, up top. You know, use one of my sassy sayings from my sentiment pack. Put kiss me, or kiss my, or read my lips. We had the frog, and I'm just, you know, spinning out. There was a frog. Oh, there we go. Oh. Can have this combo. Oh, never. Someday my prince will come. Or you got to kiss a lot of frogs before. So this is the game. This is what you have to do, because once you have them out, you're going to come up with those ideas. So I'm just going to write that down. Kiss a lot of frogs. And this frog even has a crown on. Oh, I could use him. He's kind of cute too. So I'm going to use him with Holiday Frog. And, I did one with the Julie Nutting doll. We can use I've got Aurora here. So I would use that. So I use Aurora, which is like Cinderella. You have to kiss a lot of frogs. So we have lots of options with that one very thematic napkin that, you know, when I first saw it, I thought, you know, I didn't have very many ideas. So we have another Tulip one. This is a 5x5 napkin. And I love the bottom. It has 2 panels, the colors. Spring forth, bloom. And then I might overpaint with this, but the colors are great. This one would also lead, a lot of these 5x5 napkins work really well for coasters. You can have different parts, so they're the same, but you get a set. So you could get easily 4 coasters out of that. Add a sentiment, stamp words on it. If it's a coaster, I'm not going to use modeling paste per se. And you can use Polyvine varnish. It's heat resistant, so, and that's available at NinnysNapkins too. So when I'm talking about coasters, I have some of that varnish now that will, when you put a hot element on it, the hot cup, it's not going to lift. So moving right along, we have this napkin, lovely spring, and it's kind of a pattern. We've got bees and bugs. So this one has a lot that you could cut out individual, water cut these elements, and then you could decoupage them down however you want it to. They could go on here, you paint this white, that would look very cute along the bottom. This is good for making into a card. You do a watercolor background, then you have that decoupage down. It's just a fun spring card. So either a container or a card. Here's another one with an all over pattern. This is called Fresh Fruits. So again, I think this would look nice decoupaged onto a container. And you can have silverware containers, buckets for bucket lists. You can have, I have this, I put my tea in, so it sits by my coffee center. The sky's the limit. What really draws me to this one, and I think I would use it, I decoupage it onto, I even have my utensils, all my artist stuff in here. I've got my sponges and then my brushes and stuff. I've primed this, but I've never decorated it. So one of these napkins is going to go on here. And here I have a lot of surface, but I can totally put that on and that would look absolutely lovely. And with napkins, you get lots. And I'm thinking, I just noticed this napkin, oh God, sponges galore. It does. Do you see how right here, I could decoupage and get rid of the seam. So I can wrap it around perfectly. And these colors, they really pop. The yellow, the red and the green and with the orange, they're just so, so beautiful. Take this color scheme, take that red and the orange with the yellow and those green tones, and then go to your paints and use those paints on a different page, not even using this napkin. But what I would do with this, because I love the colors and I want to utilize those colors, I would take it, rip it up, use this to create a background. So you get a little bit of those colors and patternings, or on a masterboard. I think this would be spectacular on a masterboard. And that's what I've written on my sticky note here. This one is called Vases. And that's exactly what you have here. And it's an all over pattern. This one, I think, when I looked at this, I thought this looks like vintage wallpaper. So I'd be tempted to put some texture paste behind it so that the texture's coming up, and then maybe made another vase with jelly prints, and then I can use some floral from some floral napkins or some wonky flowers that I make on my own. So let's go up, up and away. We have hot air balloons, and I love the hot air balloons, and I would trend towards cutting out the hot air balloons and using them as focal images or building up a focal image on an isolated page. But let's play with it and see if there's any other possibility. So you could, right here, where's my, on a mini composition book, I can just have 2 of them. I would watercut around it and I would create the background, but you don't have to. You can skip that step, jumpstart it, speed design. You could just glue that down, and that is the complete background to your mini composition book. This could also be tucked into a corner. But we have a lot of empty space there, and it would be hard to duplicate this. You could try and continue and paint out the water and have the water and make the sky. Challenge yourself. If I cut out the hot air balloons, I could just put them, decoupage them. Once this is painted, whatever color, I could paint it blue and decoupage these down all the way around. I think this would work well if you wanted to use it as was on a card, my 6x6 TCW cards. And if the colors are a little bit, sometimes once you decoupage it down with whatever medium you're using, I find the colors brighten, but then you can go over and do a wash of color. And I like to use my Inktense blocks for that because they're permanent when they're dry, but if you water down acrylics. And just a sentiment, up, up and away, taking off, soar. This napkin, pretty colors, is called Laura. And we have basically 4 identical patterns. This could be an Instacard. Just use it as it is. You get a sentiment from one of the sentiment packs and you are done. You could cut around, water cut around it, and do your own detailing, add your own background, texture paste, and the like. You could cut this out. This could be make a bouquet with other florals. Another floral, we've got that orange color, very vibrant. So we have 2 panels. Again, we have script behind it and postcards or post stamps. Those are ideas. Now, if you're not using the background as it is, you can add that because there are postage stamps and there are script stamps, and you can add that with whatever color you want. So this could be an Instacard. You can also use it across the bottom of a page. These colors would also look great on a master board. And remember, you can isolate one or two of them. You don't necessarily have to use all of them, like there for a mini composition book. Whether you make your own background or you use it as is. This one is for tags. You can create your interesting vintage background. This definitely reads vintage to me. And then decoupage, glue that down. This one was called Spring Flowers. So we're moving to kind of the water. This one is called Dune Path. And I love the feel, the calmness of this. I may put this on the smaller page. Playing with the composition. Then you can add whatever to it. You can paint your own sky. I would use either my Inktense blocks. You could use watercolor. Make a watercolor background. Use the salt technique, and that'll make some interesting clouds. You can add to it. Talk about go-betweens. We have this one. It's called Maritime. Oracle, I'm not sure. Put in Maritime or Seaside, you'll get it. I can add a lighthouse to this. Watercut this lighthouse out. I could add a ship. We can mix and match. I can use this just on the card here and do the same kind of thing. Add one of these lighthouses to the top of my hill, decoupage it together. Or just like this. I love that, just that look. You have an Instacard, add a sentiment. Come sail away. Dune Path. Oh, I was going to add, I wrote the notes here, good thing I did, add the hot air balloons to this one. Or add the lighthouses. So go together. This one by itself is somewhat lacking, this one by itself, you need something else. Mix and match. So this one, Maritime Ornament. I don't know. Lots of individual ones. These are great for focal points for ATCs. You can just water cut around them and glue them down. This would also look great if you have a seaside or, you know, maritime theme. You can, again, I would water cut these out. I would paint the background blue and then decoupage them on. There's wave stencils from the Crafters Workshop. I would add that to the background and then glue them wherever. And you can have groupings of 3 lighthouses or boats or anchors. I could pick some of these. I've got, with the TCW stencils, there are sand dollars and starfish, and you can use all of those combined. And that's what you write on your little Post-it note. What do you have? What stamps? Here, I'm not reaching out and grabbing the stamps, but write it down because you know what you have, and that is going to help you use your stash. So lighthouses, this one's called Coast. And we have, this is a larger scale. You can see it's as large as my hand, and we have 2 red ones and 2 blue ones. So you can totally go with that. I might use this, combine this with my, add that to when I decoupage that onto a container. This, I would be using a smaller. I would just cut out the lighthouse here, create the water, create the sky, the waves. I might decoupage those down on this page as well because they go. The other thing I may do is, again, have that. This might be in the corner. I've got the sky and that. I can use my sand dollar stencils and stack those up in the corner, or my starfish stencils. If I wanted to do this on a wood panel or a canvas, that could go on there with the same background, or I can do my own. And then I have these wooden starfish that I got at Dollar Tree, and that could be combined, and I can layer those up. Or I can have a border of sand dollars here, and then I can use these as tracers. But I love the scale of this. This is a beautiful napkin. And it's called Sunset, and we have opposite, so great for your composition. But you would cut that apart here. And what I might do is just water cut this. And so we have more sand here, or I would create sand. Maybe put the some starfish here, but get rid of this. So I would cut here, I would make my own background, my own clouds, and then I would cut under here. Create the sand dune. So this one's called Sunset. A good anchor quote. I would, where's my 4x4? Be tempted to use, there we go. Just that. How beautiful. For a coaster, for a magnet. An anchor quote. I have my Ocean Commotion sentiment pack that would work with that. There we go. There's another one right there. And the thing about using these window templates is when you start with it, it's like, nope, nope, nope. Oh, yep. It helps you view it. So I would totally do that. I would use watercolors or my Inktense blocks, Saran wrap technique or salt technique, and I would do that as well. So this napkin is really interesting. Basically, we have a panel here and the same one there. But you do have options. You can use this part or this part. So there are options there. This is called Starfish. So right off the bat, whenever there's a panel one, that might make it a good one to put on a canvas or in an inverted wood panel. I love the look of that. So that might be something that I would do. Whether this is an 8x10, and play with that. Now I have these wooden Starfish. These ones have been, and you could add that for adding a 3D. I really like that. So that might be a possibility for that. I think this napkin, because I like the coastal colors of this as well, I might take this part of the napkin wrapped around this way and wrap that on some of my galvanized metal buckets, right? And then I can combine it with, TCW has a lot of stencils that are coastal and sea-oriented, starfish, sand dollars, seaweed, that you can combine with this. I like even this center part of this napkin here can be used to decoupage onto like the tray part. This could be all wrapped around. Likewise, I mean, anything you can do on an inverted panel, I could put that on here. Tuck that in the corner. Whether I make my own, use this as an Insta background or not. And then I can just add stenciling, add a sentiment from my Ocean Commotion sentiment pack. Really great. Now let's look at what we can, you know, if you want a coaster. We have several options to have a matched set of coasters, and you can just do that and decoupage that onto the wooden coasters. And these I got from Amazon. This would also work well on a greeting card. Kind of Insta background, just add a sentiment. So you have that kind of, whether it's the 6x6 or 5x7. So lots of possibilities with this one, and love, love, love the colors. So that's Starfish. This one, Take Me to the Beach. Sunny beach, so we have the feel. You can just rip out the houses and have actually several houses on an art journal page, and then create the sea picture, the sand. Now here's a winning color scheme, that orange with those aqua tealy blue. So again, this could go just on a card. This can help you jumpstart a color scheme. You can use this as elements on a master board, and you can, you know, if you use your window templates, see that. But I'm really drawn to the color scheme here. So if you're doing a bunch of coastal things, you want to look at all of these. This one's called Water World. This napkin, again, we have a panel here and a panel there, so this would go on an inverted box. Love the soft colors, the purple with the blue. This one, in all likelihood, I can see doing on a 7x10. And I might just cut this out kind of into there. And then I have the rest of this, the top part of this, I would do texture paste. One thing we can do with napkins where you have a lot of color is take this and cut strips. And then you can glue them down on whatever substrate you're doing, leaving a little bit of space in between. That's just going to give interesting pattern and color, and it'll give you an interesting background that you can put. Maybe we have some purple flowers in our stash on another napkin that we can combine it with, or a bigger butterfly. So we're creating a background. I'm looking for ways of using that. Using it differently, making some interesting background choices. So that one's called Lake View. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful colors. So this is a gorgeous rose tulip flower. Now I struggle with dark colors. So this could be just an Insta background. This might look nice too with that same technique where, well, let's take this and do that. So you have a good idea of how it would work. Now I might on this one paint this or your art journal page with one of the colors that are in here, a nice coordinating color. So I'd probably go with the red. And then now, in a perfect world, I would make sure these were maybe all the same size. I don't know that that matters so much. And then you can just put that on. So you have that, maybe that red or the soft pink underneath. And then you glue this on top after you take off the excess plies. So you have some of that color coming through and that. Now you can, I haven't tried it, but I'm thinking it may work on the napkin to cut with a fabric cutter, a wheel. I think that will make for an interesting, and you can mix and match these. They don't have to necessarily be, but I like that look. You know, or if you want, you can put them on the larger, the 11 by 17 or the 7 by 10 we got going here. That's gonna go here. I've got them in order. I think that'll make for an interesting background because you get the picture, but you have broken it up. Like that. And if you have that color in the background, the light pink or that kind of corally color of the carnation up there in the background, do some stamping. That would give a very interesting background, and then maybe combine it with a focal image. You might want to cut out that, and that could go in the corner and go with it. Or another one. I can't grab a focal, but there's lots of florals, and floral napkins are very popular, so that would be, or a butterfly. So you know, don't always think the napkins have to be about the focal images. So this one, definitely, let's look forward to that video. This is called Still Life with Flowers. Very botanical, clean. Love the whole panel. This one's called Le Jardin de Provence. These could be add-ons. You could watercut around them and decoupage them down, glue them down, and have focal points. Or this could be just a very nice Instacard. I love, you know, the green lettering in the background. You can see that, and love the brown here. Might mix and match. There were some lavender pots that were very similar in scale. You can mix and match when you cut them out. I would even cut them out and make my own composition, layer them up a little bit, and then do something in the background with some botanical stencils. So I'm a little more excited about this one after opening it up here with you. You just keep opening them up. Different times you're going to get different ideas. Sometimes you're going to go, yeah, got nothing. That's okay. Put it away. Put what you have. This one is called Hanging Plants. And I love the blue-green of this. You can just cut out the individuals, the hanging plants. That could go just on a larger, on my 9x12. It could hang from here and then something else. You can just cut out certain ones and have, you know, 3 over here and maybe one or two tucked in here, the hanging plants. Now, if you turn this on the side, look at that motif. You could just have any one of these. So you water cut this whole thing across this way instead of doing it in the individual ones. And what that will give you and then you can glue that down in there. That could be a panel, so where you have color here and color and pattern here, and that's just a design feature that you have throughout the middle of your page. Or we could put all 3 of them this way. So you're not really using it as hanging plants. I love, love, love my birds. This one's called Chickadee, and it's a 5-inch one, but don't let that deter you. Sometimes those are the perfect scale. Now this one, I'm thinking this would make like a perfect coaster or magnet. Maybe add some texture paste underneath. And these are all identical, so you can see that. So again, this could be on this. You can put them on little 4x4 wood panels or 6x6. Love the colors here. So I would take this color scheme. You got that green with the kind of berries. So this is called Chickadee. And I may, if I put this on a card, so of course this is smaller, like that. If I put it on the card, I'd take some of that burnt red, burnt orange, and stencil pattern into that color so you have a border, so it looks like an insert on top of this. I'm on to the chickens, and there are lots of chicken roosters if that's your kitchen decor. So these ones, they're smaller in scale. So this would be something that you could use on ATCs or perfect size to put on tags. And what I would do would be water cut the elements and then build. So maybe I might have this rooster, this chicken, and this chick together on one, either, you know, a 4x4. But you'd be hard pressed to get a collection like this where you're just the whole part of the napkin. So this would be one where peel off the excess plies, water cut around, and then decoupage that down. So you could have the nest with a grouping of chickens. This could even be built up on a card or, you know, on a smaller, I wouldn't do this on the 9x12 page, but I may, you know, we have the roost, we could probably have that and have several of them walking through the yard, do sky and grass. And again, if that's your theme in your kitchen or whatever, decoupaging them onto some of these galvanized things would be a nice thing to do as well. Might be effective. So some home decor items. This one, I love hummingbirds. It's very, very soft color. But if I zoom in, you can see the hummingbird. So I would right off the bat, you know, take part of that hummingbird. But look at the beautiful coaster this gives. So whether I just water cut around the hummingbird or I did it as it is, look at that. We've got a little bit of script picking here, the butterfly, the hummingbird. That looks great. And then we have that one. So you can have, if you want to keep the background, and if you don't want, you can just water cut around just the hummingbird and do whatever background you want and decoupage that down and then make your coaster. Or, but we have, like, it's two different ones. We have two birds here and one bird here. But I love that. That would make a beautiful coaster. And since I love my hummingbirds, this is called Irish Blessing. And we have these beautiful, colorful butterflies, and we have an Irish blessing. May the wings of the butterfly kiss the sun and find your shoulder to light on, to bring you luck, happiness, and riches today, tomorrow, and beyond. So right off the bat, you know, this is an Instacard, right? Put it on the background and you have it. Now, I might be tempted to just decoupage this down and do a background my own color, or just, it would be white and have a colorful border. You got to make sure it's going to 100% fit, and it does. Almost, kind of. You'd have to tweak it. Put that down, and it's done. This could also be done on a frame, and you have an instant. Here's a 6x6 wooden panel. Glue that down, and you have, or I might go 8x8 actually to get it a little bit bigger. So here's an 8x10 canvas board. So I might put that in the middle. And then this allows me border to put on, make it colorful. So I might pick a color that's in here and have that around and do some stenciling or modeling paste. So it basically, you're almost creating a faux frame around it. Because this is square, if I had a, and I do somewhere but don't know where, an 8x8 frame. So again, size matters. Pick the one that works. You could also just take this part, and that could be the top of a card where you do decorate the whole bottom, or that could be in the middle. Or, you know, and after you've done something with that Irish blessing, we have all these butterflies that you can add to as focal images, add to a master board. You can build them up and have all these butterflies flying across the card. That's where you would, you know, watercut around them and then decoupage them down. I think that would be lovely on here. Just cutting out the butterflies. It would take a little bit of work to get it so that, well, you could actually make the wings of the butterfly that, and that would fit there. And then this one would go on the other two would go on the other side. And then depending on the size of your bucket, right? Same thing here, it would work. And butterflies are so very cute and adorable. So this one's called Irish Blessing. This napkin you've seen me use before, but it was a different size. So this one is, look at the scale of this. Love it, the yellow. So I have this in a 5x5. There are, I think, different colors. It's called Colorful Butterflies. You can colorize these, but the ones that are white, or leave them white. The scale of most of like these two are too big to put onto a coaster, but this one could be. No, I wouldn't do that on a coaster. Nope. So this would go, you know, perfect on a card. You can cut out just the butterfly. You can cut out this one, and if you put it off the page, you don't have to worry that there's not a full butterfly there. You can, you know, it can be glued here, so you have a little one. And then you can paint it with a wash of acrylic color or your Inktense blocks. But this one I would get and keep those on hand. They're just so basic and so reliable. And I would get, you know, the 5x5 one, and this is the 6.5 by 6.5. They're beautiful as they are, or they're beautiful to add on and use as focal images. So now we have, this is called Butterfly Collection White, and we have some more beautiful butterflies. So right off the bat, with an all-over pattern like this, this works really well for decoupaging down onto, you know, some of these galvanized metal. You got that bright pop of color, they're watercolored. You can go in afterwards and beef up the color. That would work on these as well. It would look nice on, you know, on a frame on the background. You can just put and stamp your own sentiment on there and have it going through. You can also watercut around each of the individual butterflies. Now they have like drips and splats. So when you're creating a background for these butterflies, you may want to have drippage, use splats of some kind. So we have, this is the 6.5 by 6.5. It also comes in the 5x5. So I would mix and match the different size. So we have identical butterflies, but different sizes. So I might take this one and this one and this one and use that on a page. So we have the 5x5, and this would make beautiful cards. My Winged Wonders sentiment pack are great for the dragonflies and butterflies and hummingbirds. Those are quotes that are for things with wings, angels, everything. So we have Butterfly Collection White, and then we have Butterfly Collection Rose, and these are more muted colors, equally as beautiful. But if this is your color scheme in your bathroom, wouldn't that look nice on some of this metal, or, you know, somehow incorporate it into a home decor item where you can cut them out. So lots of uses, as cutouts, as background. or just even here with this one, the color scheme, and I would match the yellow and the coral and the pink and the purple, try to, you know, look at my paints, mix paints, and then use that to make my own color scheme. But I might do a background and then have white in the middle, and then have cut out the butterflies and have them flying through. So use the color scheme here. And even talking about color schemes, we have, if you look at this one, we have navy with different shades of purple. Beautiful. So that's Butterfly Collection White and Butterfly Collection Rose. Another butterfly, this one's Papillon, and it's a larger scale butterfly. And it's on kind of mauve background, but I could cut this out. Now, if you're not fond of the color, but you love the size, having a focal image, a butterfly that's this size, and you get 4 on here, is great. What you can do is paint this. You can, with Inktense pencils or blocks or a wash of color, you can change the color of this butterfly, but basically you're using the shape and the size of it. So if this isn't your color scheme, or you're going to do one with the color scheme and then go from there. This is, you know, a beautiful size. This is an 8 by 10 underneath. You can see the size of this. So I would just cut around here. This would look totally different if you cut out that butterfly and put it against a blue background. So I'm just cutting this out rather quickly. I'm not getting overly precise. I will come back and do a better job when I use this, but just cut off all the napkin. And I'm going to grab, so if you put this right there with the blue, you can see how it's changed color. How it's really, you know, made that look very, very, very different. So let's see, maybe pull out a gel print. And you can put that on there. See, we've got some of that green in there, and then a wash of color to bring out the blues. And just put it on top there. It disappears. That doesn't look very good. Put it on the pink, maybe, because there's that yellow in there. So just get out your gel prints and see. But again, that's where cutting it out helps. I'm visual. I need to see it. So I might put it on there. So we have the gold in there, and then do a wash of color, and we've got a good plan. So this one is the last one, and we have 2 panels. We have this, and it's very vintage, very botanical. I love this element, and I love this element. I might cut this out and bring them closer together, layer them up, take this element. So I would be tempted right here. This would be something that I may do. Add a butterfly up here. That might fit better. Yep, there we go. That's going to fit better on the 7 by 10. You know, I even like that green color, so I might just watercut this around and then match it. Paint it out, gesso on the edge, add some texture, some different other vintage stencils, dig out those, and a sentiment from any of my sentiment packs, because a lot of them are very neutral to whatever the focal image is. It's more the message that you want to give. But I love that kind of mint green with those colors. I might also take and have several of this one feature. How is it? I'm wondering if it's opposite. The other one is looking the other. That's going that way. Nope, they're identical. But you can, once you cut them out and remove the plies, if you decoupage it down on its backside, it does, because it goes translucent, you still will be able to see it. And then if you do a wash of color to bring back the color, you will be able to do that. This might also look really nice on a card. There we go. Nope, I'm gonna go a little. I need to make a window template for my 6x6 cards. That would make a nice coaster or magnet. So get your napkins out, pick about 20 or 30 of them, pull them out on your dining room table, make yourself some window templates of the sizes that you typically work with. Think about your substrates. What substrates are you wanting to do? If you don't do home decor items, that's not relevant to you. Mix and match. Have fun, and let's use up those napkins. Let's not just store them.